Well, thanks for coming out tonight. As most of you know, I'm Tim from Finseeker River Guide, and we'll do a quick little talk about stripers. Delaware River non-tidal. So scientific name, Marone saxatilis, which is really totally irrelevant to anything we're going to talk about, but I feel pretty cool saying that. So so striper rockfish, anadromous, we all know, live in the salt, spawn in the fresh. That's why they come up the river. They're coming up to spawn. They can and do live to 30 years old, which is pretty good time frame for a fish. And the growth depends on their location and their food and predators, basically, on how fast they grow. There's no real time frame on that. Males start reproducing at 2 to 4 years old. Females are 4 to 8 years old. So that's pretty old. You know, all them little schoolies, they're only a couple of years old. They're not even going to reproduce till they're 4 or 5 years old in general. So we got to take care of the young ones too, not just the big ones. And the juveniles will typically remain in the estuaries for 2 to 4 years before they join the migration. That's not true, I don't think. That's like coming out of books. We don't have a lot of holdovers until you get down below Philly. It seems like it's up by me in the northern Delaware. They don't stay there 2 to 4 years. They go out right away, probably down towards Delaware Bay. Average size 2 to 3 feet, 10 to 30 pounds. That's another thing. They go everywhere from 10 inches to 50 inches. 70% of the Atlantic stock uses the Chesapeake for reproduction. So that's a big deal. They're always monitoring the fish in the Chesapeake up and down, and they do a lot of studies on year of young and different things to judge what happens here by the Chesapeake. And they talk about no target and things. That's when they're down there checking year of young. So it's, a lot of fish in the Chesapeake come up here. Biggest recorded striper, 125 pounds. That was dead in a commercial net, not a hook and line. Now they have a preferred water temperature of 52 to 68, and they will migrate to find that. So that's a big deal. As they come into the river, and the river gets up 75, 80 degrees, key thing would be trying to find some colder water, because they will swim around the river until they find that. So that's a big deal finding late season. Now, they have no eyelids. I know that sounds kind of goofy, but a lot of fish have an eyelid like a cat. It's a covering. Stripers do not have that. That's why when the sun comes up, stripers go down. So basically the saying, sun up, bass go down. Now, if you're fishing up in the Yardley area, and the water is only 6, 7 feet, so there's a few spots there where it's 10 feet. So maybe at 11 o'clock in the morning, when you don't think striper fishing is going to be that good, and you go to some of them deeper holes, you might find a couple willing to play, because now they're out of the sunlight and they're down in that oxygenated water and a little bit happier than a fish that's out on the flat. So over the years, I have found some of the spots that I always start out at. I'd go back later, maybe even after my customers left in the middle of the day, just to have lunch and catch maybe a couple fish, and there I am banging them, going, hey, wait a minute, these fish pulled in here from the flats because they don't like the sunlight. So you pay attention to some of them things, and you can find fish when it's odd times of the day. All right, so they begin entering the river February and March. That all depends on conditions of the river and the weather. It's not goes by the calendar, but there's definitely plenty of fish in the river end of March. These are usually your bigger females, the big spawners. They can tolerate the cold water a little bit better, and they'll pull up. They're harder to catch. Everything's slow, big Danny plugs or slow trolling or even chunking works. But those fish come first, and they're hard to catch, but they're there. Then the masses enter in April and May, and all mixes are in there. All size fish are in there at that point. Like right now, a lot of the bigger fish are either north or south. This area right down here seems to have a lot of schoolies right now. Those big fish will keep pushing up, and the other body of fish will slide up and down with the herring. So you have two bodies of fish. Once they clear New Hope, they change their tune and they head north. They don't mess around sliding up and down like a lot of these fish do. All the ones being caught down in Philly, I call them slide ups. They ride the tides up and back. That's why down in Trenton and areas like that, you have new fish or a change over of fish every 6 hours or so, as opposed to when you get up northern Bucks County, there is no changeover. The fish that are there are the fish that are there, or ones coming back. So at this point, we have them all through the river. You know, you can have everything you want. They have all the herring, shad, they have all kinds of food, they're happy, the river temperature's good. You know, when the river temperature's good, they actually begin to feed at 43. We're all the way up in the 60s, back down to 40s. 43 degrees. People think 50 is the number. No. Stripers actively feed at 43. 52 to 68 is their preferred temperature where they like to live. Delaware River in July, 75 degrees up north, so you got to find them stripers. They're not going to be, at night, they're going to find colder water. So they'll hold up during the day and they'll move at night. That's their trick. They'll spawn around 63. Now, it doesn't get to 63 and they spawn. It has to stay there for a week or so to start triggering everything to go. So it's already been to 65. But you know, now a lot of the stripers now are spawned out. I'm about half and half of what I'm seeing. Probably more than that, like 80% spawned out, at least up north here. So here's the trick. If the stripers are entering in February and March, 35 to 40 degree water, and they start to push north, the only thing they're thinking about is spawn. So they're just going. They go all the way by here and they keep on going. And then the entire river system in June, you hit the spawn, right? So you have a lot of fish have already bypassed this all the way up by New York. So there's big fish that started booking up there in March. They got no problem. They're all the way up there. I have river guides at the West Branch up there, and they try to catch trout, and the stripers eat them. So they get all the way up there. So then what happens is they spawn out, right? And now it's basically just like steelhead fishing or anything else. You got the drop backs. It's a big run of fish coming back. Most guys have moved on. You know, they're done with stripers. People don't even know they're drop backs. So you can catch fish all the way through July and August. They start petering out in my area in September. So, but you have to know where to go. You have to really want them. You're not just going to go down throwing poppers and just hit a seam and catch them. You got to figure out where they're at. So most of the herring don't push north anymore either. You know, and so they're out of food, and they got a 200-mile journey back. So this is where we come into play. You find the fish, they're going to be hungry, okay? So they're hungry and they're warm, and they're trying to get back to the salt. You put eels or trout or something like that in front of these fish, they're going to eat it. Because you might have a 30-pound fish in Regalsville that's trying to eat whatever it can to get back to the salt water. So, like I said, most people have moved on. Now, it's basically at that time of year, you have to, you know, it's low light, and where you find the fish the one day, they might not be the next because they move at night. So they'll hold up during the day, and then they move at night because they feel comfortable moving in the dark. So then you got to find them. But what happens is, if you set yourself up with 4 or 5 miles of river or more, 8 or 10 miles of river with 6, 8, 10 holes, right? So say now in general, the fish will be heading south. So if you lose them and you jump down to the next hot spot 6, 8 miles downriver, you might just find that same batch of fish again. You can kind of leapfrog them. Eventually you'll lose them because they're fish, right? But you can do that. So real quick, early season, live bait, perch, eels, trout. You can chunk shad, and then slowing everything down, very slow, slow rolling Danny plugs or slow trolling on angles upriver works very well. Trolling downriver, I don't know if any of you guys ever try it, your lures don't work. The best way to troll is on an angle upriver, straight up the river. The fish don't like chasing it too much, but if you're on an angle and then zigzag back and forth. And one really cool trolling trick, which you'll catch fish, and not a lot of people do this, is at the bridges in Trenton, you set up your boat heading upriver, right below the bridge embankment. You take a swim shad and you throw it out across the back of the bridge embankment this way, across the seam into the pocket. As soon as it starts to settle, you need two people, a guy on the rod and a guy on the boat. You put the boat in gear and you start to troll upriver. You don't do nothing but hold the rod. And as the boat goes up the river, that settles into the pocket. And as soon as that thing swings out and goes upriver, they slam it, because you cannot mimic that by casting. You can have the boat upriver and cast into the pocket, but it's still going to shoot upriver. The only way to mimic that exact action is by, like I said, throwing out across, let it sink, put the boat in gear, and just let it swing and pull right up out of there. And that's naturally what a lot of fish do when they leave them eddies. You're sitting downstream throwing up, that catches fish. Sitting across catches fish too. But that trick, when they're picky and early season, when everything's slow, that works great, great. So keep that one in mind. Then mid-season, everything that you would use for stripers anywhere, Jersey coast, anywhere. All your lures, everything you got, right now works. Anything you want to try. Late season, we go back to eels and trout, some plugging and stuff, but it's all low light. Now, everybody knows too, inline circles, right? We need to use inline circles for live bait so you don't get in trouble. And here's the thing, I don't know if you guys catch a lot of fish with these circles, but you can set the hook. A lot of guys say, I don't want to use a circle hook because they're taking away my hooks. When that fish bites and comes tight, I go like this, just like a regular J hook. You bury it right in there. So, and it's a crock anyway, because I've been catching stripers all my life, and the circle hooks are down their throat too. We all know that, right? Maybe they help a little, but I don't think they're like a drastic change in the hook world. Tidal water, if you want for finding them, any tidal creek or river that enters the Delaware, bridges, big flats, obviously Trenton Falls, they've been in there for, ever, 75, 80 years. The free-flowing river, you want same thing, any creek or river that enters, big rocks, rapids, basically seams, pockets, and eddies. The same thing you fish trout streams, smallmouth, anything, just on a grander scale. So, anything, seams, pockets, and eddies, which all coincide with the same thing. If you have a rock, you'll have two seams with a pocket and an eddy. So you concentrate on that stuff, and that's where the fish are going to sit. Now, no water too fast or no lure is too big in the Delaware River. I don't care how fast that water is. Class 3 rapids, you're looking at it going, I tell people I want you to cast in there, and they say, are you kidding me? Yeah, cast in there. And big giant lures, doesn't matter. 16-inch stripers will try to eat 12-inch lures. They do not care. We caught a 10-inch striper today on like a 10-inch SP minnow. I thought the guy snagged the herring, but this thing actually tried eating it, and I think you'd choke if you got it down. Real quick, from boat or land, when you're talking about, your offering. When you're in a boat, you're typically casting towards the shallow, bringing it back to the deep, or working the area like that. When you're on land, you're obviously casting out into deeper water and bringing it back to the shallow. So it's two totally different offerings. When you're fishing from land, you have to make sure you fish it all the way to your feet, because the fish have to make a decision at some point. They realize they're running out of water. And I have fish eat eels and stuff like 3 feet away when you're about ready to lift it out of the water, because the thing's following it all the way in. And then they realize, oh wait, that's land, and they go wham, they hit it right away. So make sure you fish it all the way to the boat or the bank. You know, we have them trying to eat poppers right at the side of the boat because they're swinging with it. If your popper's coming down, pop, 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 if you ever see the underwater footage, that fish is going like this. He's back there like this. He swings with it, he might swing with it for 50 yards, and they're like this. And when you start to make something different, they come up and attack it. They don't always just come in and attack it. They look at it for a while. It's crazy. So no water too fast and no lures too big. And that changes a lot of games for people. I see a lot of people trying to catch stripers on little 4-inch rappalas, you know, and you will get them. But if you want to get a bigger fish, 30-pound fish, 40-pound fish, you got to throw something the size of a herring. Simple as that. They're trying to eat herring. They love herring. Buy stuff that looks like a herring, and now you're match the hatch, as they say. 5,000 series. 3,000 series spinning reels, you could get spooled. I've been spooled a few times on 4,000 series where they take it all, and that sucks. So, you know, make sure you got line capacity, because most of the time you catch 10-pounders, they just, you know, they run like 20 yards, you know, no big deal. But when you get jumbo on there and you run out of line, it's horrible. And conventional, any good saltwater, you know, with a good throw and a good drag. So what I do for rods is I use like saltwater, small tuna jigging rods. Super light, super strong, and a 10-pound fish is a real hoot. And you get a jumbo on there, you can beat up on them, the rod doesn't explode. So high quality on the rod, and you know, a good reel with line capacity, and that way when you get a jumbo on there, you'll be able to land it, instead of having it like a million stories like I do. Fish getting away. So, you just good strong stuff. Main line, I use 40 to 65-pound braid. Then I'm 20 to 30-pound fluorocarbon. I never fish anything direct to my braid. I always use fluorocarbon for stripers. The longest leader you can possibly cast, aside from a popper could be like a little 16-incher, but growing up, we all let the lure hang 12 inches from our rod tip, and it's tough to break guys at that. You know, get 30 inches, 3 foot from the rod tip, and so you got a fluorocarbon leader, and you'll get more strikes that way. That braid runs down too close, them stripers can see that. And it's a big no-no. Now, guys will tell me, well, I caught them that way, but tying braid directly to a popper or a lure is not, you'll miss a lot of opportunity by doing that. So try to get your leaders as long as you can with that fluorocarbon. Real quick, tier two, you guys in here know how to do this. Here's your braid again. So a lot of times on like SP minnows and jerk baits, I'm going to run a barrel swivel just to give a little action and take the twist out of there to your fluorocarbon. Now clips, speed clips, yes or no? If you're going to run a speed clip, it's best to take the split ring off, because now you got a lure with a split ring and then a speed clip. There's too much going on there. You're going to kill the action of your lure. If you take the split ring off and put your speed clip directly to the loop in the lure, it takes away that second joint in there. So keep that in mind. That's a good trick. Just get rid of the split ring. And when I fish jigs, I never fish a clip. I want to be tied directly to the jig. I also don't fish barrels. I just tie unis or FGs to my braid. But jigs, it just seems better to get more action out of the jig. Same thing, if you have a clip on there, you have this give point, and you're wanting that jig to work, and then you got to give. And then in the current, it kind of gets kinked sideways, and so tie them direct.
No loop knot?
Loop knot, yeah. Oh. Yeah. As long as you tie the good one. Because you get a jumbo on, that loop knot will break. Yeah. The one where you tie the overhand, and you go through, back through, and all, that's pretty strong. Now, 25 to 30 pound, you know, if you're using 15, man, your disaster waiting to happen. Generally, you'll catch them, but when you get that big one, you'll have a story instead. Floats are fun. If you ever done that, you can hook up an eel, barrel swivel, little egg sinker in between the barrel and the hook, back to your inline circle again. You can use trout or eels or perch or whatever with a float, that you set the height to. And another real cool thing is lighted floats. You can send them down a seam at night. You have a knot that's adjustable, so if you're in 8 foot of water, you might want to set it at like 6. Turn the light on and run that thing down the seam till you can't see it anymore, and then reel it back in. But it's a real hoot when they grab that thing. A catfish grabs it, it's like dunk and under. When a striper goes, it goes, yeah, you're like, whoa. So it's pretty fun. But it's a cool way to like if you're in an area with a lot of snags and you buy them styrofoam, they're a little smaller than a baseball. They're a neat little float because it'll keep you out of the rocks, that way. And it'll keep the eels out of the rocks. You get just above it and you're good to go. So after it all comes together and you do get a good one, make sure you have a good net or a pair of lip grippers. There's a lot of fish lost at the boat side due to, nets breaking, and everybody has a story of their friend missing them and this and that. And lip grippers, when you're bank fishing, is like really the best way to get them. I have a story real quick. One of the biggest stripers I ever hooked in the Delaware River. Of course, I'm by myself. I have no proof, nobody to see it. It's just a fish story. But it was a jumbo. It was pushing 50 pounds. I was on the bank. I got the fish to the bank. I grabbed him with one hand. I had him in my hand, and he flipped out of my hand. And when he did, he landed right here between my legs. So I reached down and I said, not this time. I grabbed him with both hands. And when I grabbed him with both hands, I said, all right, I got you. And then he went like this, whah, like that again, went back down, shot between my legs, bent the rod around my leg, and broke as he went back into the river. Like I said, nothing, no proof, nobody there to witness it but me. And as a grown man, I almost shed a tear. I almost threw up. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, a matter of fact, as I tell this now, it really sucks. I'm still thinking about it. It's just, but I would have had that fish with a lip gripper is what I'm saying. I'd have clamped that thing on there and he just shook like all he wanted and I'd have had him. So when it comes together, make sure you're ready to land it. And then we don't have to go over this, but if you plan on eating it or whatever, get a picture, revive them, try to take care of the fish. Hot water in the summer, take the time to revive them. And another thing, holding a striper by the mouth in the current like this, they can't move their mouth. If you can get off into an eddy and hold the fish by the tail, they will revive a lot quicker. If you have to revive them in the current, do not do it by the tail because you'll drown them. Their gill plates will pin outward and it'll do worse for the fish. You have to hold them by the mouth if the only place to be is in the current, and they'll be okay. But if you can get to an eddy and hold them by the tail and come back and forth, the gill plates will work. You'll see their mouth open a little bit and a couple bubbles, and they'll get real happy and go. So let's just try to take care of the fish, and then obviously be safe, have fun, and catch them up. But now if you have any questions or anything, if you want me to, go back on something or whatever.
Do you have any special places to fish off the bank?
So in the hot water, you want to look for any of your cold spring streams, anywhere, all the way up the river, like the Tohickon, or I'm not sure down here too much of the cold ones, but any stream or anywhere there's a cold spring. So cold springs also bubble up from the bottom of the river. So like just local knowledge, I have places where there's stripers in the middle of the river. You got boats going right by you, and I tell people, just act like you're on your phone because there's a cold spring right under us, and we have stripers laying there, and it's just flat water. It looks like nothing. No one would ever go there, but some dude told me, hey, there's a cold spring over there, and I said, oh, okay, Thanks. So That's what you want to do. You want to find that kind of stuff because they're done with the bait, they're done with herring, they're done spawning, you know, and they're hot. So cold water, and then at night, early and more, you know, you're not going to get them in at 11 o'clock. It's going to be first light, last light, or middle of the night. On the middle of the night, they're in the run. They're on the run. They're trying to get to other pockets down the river typically. So, yeah.
Where do you see it turning around, heading back out?
So, like in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I get them all the way into August. I've had them in September. I try getting them in October and November. I sort of give up because I move on to something else. But I get like a lot of schoolies, and it seems like a lot of 10 and 12 pound fish in July and into August up north, like Northampton County, Bucks County, up that way, above Easton. They're all coming back down. And yeah, they're coming back down because there's, like, I got reports of fish all the way up, you know, 200 miles north. There's stripers up there eating the trout the guys are trying to catch them. They've got them on a fly rod, and a 20-pound striper comes in and eats this trout. Yeah, yeah, and it happens quite often. And then the guys that are slick go, oh, wait a minute, let's go catch some stripers, you know. But they got a 300-mile journey to get back, and I get right in their way, you know, with a nice eel. So yeah, they're coming back. They'll be coming back, but they come back for 2 months. It's almost, I almost have 6 months of striper fishing. Yeah, it's really cool.
I got a question.
Sure.
I love stripers.
Yep.
Not only do I love to catch them, but I think they're so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
When I gut hook a striper,
Yep.
and I bring them in and
Yep.
say gut hook, I always cut my line.
Yeah, yes,
But
sir.
do they actually have any shot at
Yeah.
living with that hook down in their guts?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they sure do. I catch them all the time. All the time with 30-pound lines sticking out. When you look down in there, the hook's gone. Yeah, yeah. So anything that's, you know, if it's in the gills and it's pouring blood out the side, that fish is toast. If the thing's disappeared down in there, I have no idea, man. Their stomach just eats that up or whatever. It stays in there. It's crazy, but yeah, they live.
So if you accidentally kill a fish that you're not allowed to keep,
Right.
what do you do?
Yep.
I hate to see a big fish float
Yep.
down the river that's dead.
Yeah, so if you're willing to pay the $1,000 per fish fine, that's up to you. Because you could go, you buy a lot of fish for $1,000. No, really, listen, it's the bad people make it for the good, because everybody would say, well, it was gill hooked. So it's a bummer, but if it's, I feed them to the eagles, because I am not messing around, you know what I mean? I can't. It's a shame, but they don't go to waste. It's all part of the ecosystem. Yes, sir.
Number one, I wanted to comment on your story.
Yeah.
That's the number one reason why I started filming all my fishing adventures. I had so
Right.
much stuff happen.
Yeah.
I tell people, and they're like, yeah, right. And I'm
Yep.
like, all right, I need to show you the stuff that happens to me.
I need like a GoPro or something.
Yeah, definitely be doing that.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say as well is, you know, I can catch schoolies all day long. I usually fish from the bank, working on getting my boat together so I can fish the river fully.
Yeah.
What would you recommend I throw? I throw
Yep.
paddle tails right now. Like I said, I catch schoolies all day long.
Yeah.
But I want a cow. I know it
Yep.
may be too late now, but I think
Right.
it's not.
So it's a little late now. And if you really want one in April, just go chunking down here in the tidal water. They're hammering them. Penn Manor, like, I mean, 30-pound fish, solid 30s all day long. I had guys reeling in chunks to check them, and they were eating them. So, and I don't really do that. I stop at Trenton. I just fish the free-flowing river. You know, my theory is when it gets down to there, and I got nothing against it, but I have friends with boats in Belmar and Raritan Bay. So at some point, I'm like, you know, I'm at the end of my river, and I go to the salt and catch them over there. But you want big fish, April. Yep. all through Trenton area. And the dropbacks, like I get them. I get 30 pounders on the way back, but you know, one a season, you know, maybe two, but we do get 20, 25 pounders. We get, you know, 15 of them, you know, not hundreds, you know, those fish coming back, I might catch a couple hundred. I think the one year we had close to 300, you know, but that's a lot of time and it sounds like a lot of fish, but it's a lot of trips and a lot of time spent and a lot of people. You know, I'm pushing 600 right now, 600 stripers. We're at like high fives right now. And if you do the math, 20, 30 trips, it's 20 per trip or so, right? It's not like, oh man, this guy's catching hundreds every time. It's just time spent, so.
And those fish are dropping back from
Yeah.
Narrowsburg or whatever.
Sure.
So the water temperature is 75 to 80 degrees here, you're gonna catch them in cool. What's the quality of the meat for eating? Is it?
I have no idea. Yeah, it's definitely deteriorating. Absolutely, because now they haven't even eaten. And they're spawned out. Some of them are pretty beat up.
They're not eating on the way
They're
back?
trying, but they don't have a lot because they're in the river. And the herring are all gone. And what do they
They don't
eat?
chase little stuff?
They do, but like, it's not
Exerts
easy.
too much effort.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of it, especially it's so hot during the day. They only got at night. And then a lot of the bait moves into the shallows. So it's
How about suckers as a bait?
yeah, anything like that. Yeah, crick chubs, suckers, white perch, trout. Trout are too fragile. They suck. They they die as soon as you put them in the river water, you know. But eels, number one, hands down. Give me an eel. I go through almost 500 eels a year on my boat. So eels are, I love eels. Stripers hate them. Something to do with them eating their fry, and they also love them for food. So it's a double whammy.
I used to use them down the rips.
I'm telling you, man, the smaller little 12, 14-inch eels. And I fish them like a lure. I don't know if you guys ever fish eels or not, but you knock the eel a little silly, hook it right up through and just fish it like an SP. You don't need to be an anchor with a weight with the thing in a rod holder on the bottom. Cast it out across the seam, a pocket, and an eddy. Let it sink a little bit, real slow, man. Just fish it. That thing will come right back to you. Yeah. Well, that was hooking them to jigs was great, but now it's not unless you got a circle hook jig, the man's going to come at you. So yeah, I love putting them on a jig, but I don't see any circle hook jigs around. Anything else? Anybody else?
What's your
Yeah.
I've read a lot of people complaining
Mm-hmm.
there's too many scrapers now, and they're eating all the shad.
Not the case.
I didn't think so.
No, that's not the case. So first off, like a stripe, the only shad that they're going to eat is one that's wounded or released injured. They're never going to catch a healthy fish.
Yeah.
Year of young on their way back, shad fry, yeah, man, they have a feast. Everybody in the whole river does. Smallies, like, it's amazing. Shad population is even what it is because they're this big. They got to make it out of the river. Then they got to make it to the bay. Then they got to make it to the Bay of Fundy all the way in Newfoundland. Then they got to grow up there, and then they got to make it back. Like, how the hell do they do that?
Yeah, all you got to see on the river in September is a little boil and just rub in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You're going to get a small.
Yeah. A little popar, a little rebel popars.
But it used to be good when you could catch the
Yeah.
herring. You put it there in Trenton.
Yeah, we called them Tootsie Rolls. They were like, giving candy to kids. You could find a dead herring on the ramp in the morning and pick that thing up, go put it on a hook in the wing dam and catch a striper. Dead.
You know, we have a guy that comes down to see us every year. His name is Rusty Ball.
Yeah, I know Rusty.
Right?
Yeah, I know Rusty.
He's the shad man.
Yeah, no, I know Rusty.
I was complaining to Ron the other day when we were fishing. I said, you know, Ron, 10 years ago, before we knew Rusty Balls, we'd go out, we'd go shad fishing, we'd catch 20 or 30 shad.
Yeah.
Now Rusty comes in and tells us how to rig our poles, how many knots to do this, how many that, and we don't catch shit. So when Rusty comes again next
Yeah,
year,
you're gonna tell him.
I'm going to tell him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I'm prepared when I come back. I got you. You're setting me up here. I got you. Yeah.
If you have a car, I think you'd be fun to fish with.
Oh, yeah.
Just for giggles. You know?
Yeah. I hear that all the time. People say you're a real hoot. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It just comes natural, Suck at fishing, but, we could talk all day.
When the shad are on their way out of the river,
Yeah.
to survive
Yeah.
the spawn,
Yep.
they feed on the way out.
Yeah.
I've caught them on chicken livers,
Oh, yeah? That's cool.
alive, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Fishing for catfish.
Wow. That's interesting.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess they're probably pretty hungry.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And
That's pretty cool. I've never heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat.
I was really surprised. I was in a catfish tournament and caught a shad on a chicken liver. I kept it in the live well to show the guys because
Yeah.
nobody would believe me.
Sure. Yeah. You had the freshest catfish bait of anybody, though. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming out.
Do you have a card? Or
Yeah, I got cards.
how do you get a hold of it?
You need to get a hold of me. Well, I'm going to give you the wrong number. I heard about you. You guys want some stickers too? I got new stickers. Stick them on your freezer in your garage, or pick your teeth with them, or whatever you do with them. Throw them on a cooler. Grab a card. I'll pass them around. I know you can get me whenever you want. Yeah, just
I'll be up there next week sometime.
Yeah,
Probably early.
just park your truck behind mine. I can't get out.
Do you fish north of Easton at all?
I do. Foul Rift, up that way.
I haven't been up there in years.
Yeah.
Launch out of San Seti.
Yeah. I launch out of there, or I launch out of. Well, it still sucks. It's shallow and low bar there. In the summer, you got to back way out in the river, but it's fine. Even last year as low as it was, you could still, your tires would get right to the end of it and you could still launch. So yeah. Yeah, that's a good ramp. Yeah. No, you'd be good in there. Cool. Yes, sir.
So, what is the biggest fish you've seen caught, like through your guests or anything like that? What's the biggest fish?
47-pound striper. I don't have the big flatheads yet, so striped bass is the biggest. 51 inches. Yeah. I got this cool thing here. You guys want to take a picture of it on your phone? It's yeah, you took it? Or you took a picture of it? It's this, I don't know if I have it or not. Yeah, it tells you. Yeah, it's a really good one though, because it gives you if it's a big one or a little one.
I go when somebody put it that big for it, it's in my tackle.
Yeah, that's all.
Check it out all the time.
Yeah, you just take a picture of that on your phone, because that thing's really accurate. It's a real, there's a bunch of them out there, but that one there is really, really close. We checked them with scales and stuff. It gives you like minimum, maximum, and average, in case it's a big female or a little male. But it's really pretty cool.
How can someone get in touch with you to book a guide trip?
You can text me at 215-262-4811 or email fishboneskeebler@gmail.com.